Hello and welcome to Spectrum News. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from Oyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. NULEG president say employees set for nationwide strike. Tribunal strikes out LP's petition challenging Fubara's victory plus. President Zelensky tells EU foreign ministers that victory depends on cooperation. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in a moment. We begin the news from the national scene where the national president of the Nigeria Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE, Bali Olatunji, has expressed the readiness of his union to join the nationwide strike on Tuesday, speaking in Akure after the election of a new executive of the Ondo State chapter of the NOLGE. Olatunji declared that the union would join the strike. The NOLGE national president, however, opened that the government needed to go back to the local government and give support to the local councils in the area of equipment and infrastructural intervention, among others. He also faulted the distribution of the palliatives, alleging that the exercise had been turned to political affairs. Away from that, former Nigerian Minister of Petroleum, Diezeni Alice Madueke, has appeared in a London court over charges of receiving bribes in the form of cash, flights and private jet, luxury goods, and a use of high-end properties in Britain in return for awarding oil contracts, making her first court appearance at Westminster Magistrate Court. Alison Madueke spoke only to give her name, dates of birth, and address. The 62-year-old was not asked to enter a plea. The charges against her read out in court, all related to events alleged to have taken place in London during her time as a Minister for Petroleum Resources between 2010 and 2015. Prosecutor Andy Young alleged that Alison Madueke accepted a wide range of advantages in cash and in kind from people who wanted to receive or continue to receive the award of oil contracts, which he said were worth billions of dollars in total. This is coming a few weeks after the former finance minister in Nigeria was charged with bribery and CNCA. Meanwhile, the Rivers State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the petition filed by the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Rivers State, Beatrice Itubo, challenging the election of Siminalayi Fubara of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. Recall that on September 13, the tribunal reserved judgment on the petition filed by Cole, seeking the nullification of Fubara's victory. The three-member tribunal, led by Justice Cletus Emifoye, adjourned the matter for judgment after the parties adopted their final written addresses and presented their arguments for and against the petition. However, ruling on the Labour Party's petition today, the Justice Emifoye-led tribunal dismissed the petition, saying it lacks merit and fails to prove their allegations. In a related development, the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in Yola has dismissed the petition against the Adamawa State Governor, Omar Fintiri, following the declaration of Fintiri as the winner of the March 18 governorship poll. The SDP governorship candidate Omar Addo and his running mate Amos Yusuf approached the tribunal, challenging the victory outcome of the exercise. Addo alleged that the election was not conducted in substantial compliance with the Electoral Act. The petitioner further alleged that the exercise conducted by the first respondent was a matter of corrupt practices, threats and violence, and therefore sought the nullification of the entire exercise. In her judgment, the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Teresa Obor, declared that the petition was incompetent, defective, incongruous, and not properly instituted before the tribunal, and that the petitioners were not certain of what they wanted. Also, that the allegations of corrupt practices must be proved with content and credible evidence, and failure to do so renders the petition without any probative value, worthless and lifeless. She therefore dismissed the petition and awarded the sum of 200,000 naira in favor of Anik Fintiri, Farator Kale Tapwa, and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) against the petitioner. Now to Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, who has approved 35,000 naira provisional wage award for all federal government workers. The decision was reached following further consultations with the federal government delegation that met the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC). In a statement signed by Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, the government further highlighted the outcome of the meeting with the organized labor, where it called on the labor unions not to embark on strike, insisting that issues and disputes can only be resolved when workers are at work. Meanwhile, all Treasury-paid federal government workers will receive a payment for a period of 6 months. In a separate development, the leadership of the organized labor will meet with its organs today to discuss the 35,000 naira provisional wage award, which is the federal government approved for all Treasury-paid federal workers for 6 months. The president of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), Joe Ajaro, stated this to the House reporters after a 4-hour meeting with the government delegation led by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. Recall that the NLC and the TUC had announced an indefinite strike with effect from October 3, 2023 to protest the alleged failure of the federal government to provide poor post-subsidy palliatives for workers and implement policies that could alleviate the sufferings of the masses after the removal of the fuel subsidy. Meanwhile, it is unclear if the strike action will be stalled or, however, the federal government has urged NLC to choose dialogue, not strike.
I am happy to say that after 4 hours, we have reached certain agreements that inure to the benefit of the Nigerian worker. Agreements on wage bill, agreements on committees, on salary increment, agreements on the CN bosses, agreement on several other things, I believe, both TUC, Labour and government side.
We have looked at almost all the issues, all the promissory notes, from the government, and we looked at how to translate them to reality, and to be workable. And then we're going to take those promises to our organs. Of course, these people here cannot just wake up and review and call off action. So, like he said, we're hopeful that our organs will have.
In another development, the West African Examinations Council (WAEC) has appointed Dr. Amos Dangote as the head of the national office. A statement by WAEC revealed that Dangote, until his appointment, was the deputy registrar HNO's office. The statement further stated that he joined the service of WAEC in 1998 as an assistant registrar, second, rose through the ranks to become a deputy registrar in April 2018 and won the Nigeria Examinations Committee's commendation for transparent conduct of examination between 2000 and 2006. Meanwhile, Amos succeeded Patrick Aragon, whose tenure ends this month. And now to Africa, where the Zimbabwe Miners Federation ZMF has said at least nine miners have been killed after a shaft in an informal gold mine collapse. ZMF President Henrietta Rushwaya said the incident took place at the Bay Horse mine in Chagutu, some 120 kilometers west of the capital, Harare. He added that 4 bodies had been recovered so far, while 5 others were still struck on the rubble. Meanwhile, a mine engineer, Hussein Piri, said it is difficult to retrieve the bodies because the mine is still collapsing, and each time they try to rescue people, the mine is a threat to their lives as well. Still in Africa, Gabon's new leader held talks with Congo president aimed at improving ties between the countries. Gabon's leader, Oligui, said that his visit was aimed at improving the ties and easing Gabon's international isolation, as well as sanctions following the coup. Recall that Gabon was suspended from the African Union and the Economic Community of Central African State, ECCAS, after the change of government, and ECCAS had also ordered the immediate transfer of its headquarters from Gabon's Libreville to Equatorial Guinea capital Malabo. The Congo president did not address reporters after the talks, but his foreign minister Jean-Claude Gakoso hailed Oligui as a man of humility and reconciliation. On the foreign scene, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has met with European Union Foreign Minister visiting Kyiv, saying he is confident that Ukraine and the entire free world are capable of winning the confrontation with Russia. Zelensky noted that the country's victory directly depends on Ukrainians' cooperation, stressing that the more strong and principled steps the country takes together, the sooner the war will end. He described the minister's presence in Kyiv as a step towards strengthening Europe, adding that Ukraine needs to constantly take new defense and diplomatic, political, and integration, economic and sanctions steps that will make her common position stronger. The president said that besides further military aid and joint production of weapons to Ukraine's path to NATO membership and a fresh package of sanctions against Russia were among the important steps to be taken, as well as the beginning of negotiations this year on Ukraine's membership in the EU. Still on the foreign scene, the United Kingdom UK Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt is set to reportedly announce that the UK minimum wage will go up next year. The Chancellor of Exchequer will also announce proposals for a crackdown on people claiming out-of-work benefit payment while failing to look for work. The rise from April next year comes amid the worst cost of living crisis in the generation, with the government battling stubbornly high inflation and industrial unrest across the economy. Reports that a boost for UK's lowest earners will see wages rise to at least £11 an hour, an annual increase for a full-time worker of over £1,000. And still to come in the news, Harley Matthews Town leads West Indies to record win over Australia. To stay with us. Welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. Over now to our business news. On our business news, the Nigerian Exchange Limited (NGX) will see its market capitalization depreciate by 8.69 billion naira as Capital Hotel PLC announced its delisting from the Bros. Recall that the company announced its voluntary delisting from the exchange as recommended by the board of directors. The company in a statement said the exchange approved the delisting application subject to Capital Hotel's evidence of opening an escrow account in the registrar's name and evidence that shareholders who have accepted to exit have been paid. The company added that the delisting provides the opportunity to strategize for better performance, minimize cost, and stay competitive. Still in business, BUA Boisement PLC has reviewed the timeline for the implementation of its reduced ex-factory price of 3,500 naira per bag, saying Nigerians can begin to enjoy the benefits of the price reduction before the completion of its plans. The company's management, in a statement on Sunday, cited its commitment to reduce cement prices upon the completion of the company's new lines at the end of the year. In order to spur development in the building materials and infrastructure sectors, addressing its customers, stakeholders, and the public, the manufacturer noted that it had conducted a periodic review of its operations for efficiency will be effective from today. Boisement added that all pending undelivered orders which had been paid for at the old prices would be reviewed downwards, and licensed dealers will enjoy the benefit. In health, Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Ghebreyesus Tedros, says the world has fallen short of its target to end the global tuberculosis epidemic by 2030, saying that all hands should be on deck to achieve the ambitious target. Tedros, in a recorded meeting of World Health Organization's General Assembly, said that at the first high-level meeting on TB held half a decade ago, the world set these ambitious targets, noting that while millions of lives have been saved, the targets are yet to be achieved. The Director General revealed that the only licensed TB vaccine was developed over a century ago and saves thousands of lives every year by protecting young children. However, the vaccine does not adequately protect adolescents and adults. Meanwhile, he charged all hands to be on deck and noted that more work needs to be done. Still in health, geriatricians and other experts in respiratory medicines have advised Nigerians over 65 years old, especially those with weakened immune systems, to get vaccinated as a preventive measure against pneumonia. Speaking in interviews, they said many diseases can weaken the immune system, making it less able to fight off Streptococcus pneumonia, the bacterium that causes pneumonia, hence the need for a vaccination. According to a consultant family physician and geriatrician at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Oduni Oludasi, pneumococcal vaccines are not only for children under 5, but for adults of all ages. He said the vaccine is available for adults and that they should get vaccinated, noting that one shot can last them for 5 years, especially those with lung diseases such as asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, tuberculosis, and among others. In sport, Harley Matthews' stunning century helped West Indies complete their highest women's T20 international run chase as they beat Australia by 7 wickets. Captain Matthews struck 132 from 6-4 balls as her side chased Australia's imposing 212 to 6 in Sydney. The all-rounder fell with West Indies needing 9 runs from 7 balls, which Shayman Campbell and Chanel Henry managed with a ball to spare. Matthews also took 3 to 36 in Australia's innings in a majestic all-round effort. Her performance eclipsed that of 20-year-old Australian Phoebe Litchfield, who blasted 52 from 19 balls, equaling Sophie Devane's record for the fastest women T20 international half-century, 18 balls. And still in sport, Chelsea manager Mauricio Pochettino has listed players that will feature in the club's clash with Fulham in the Premier League tonight. The Chelsea squad for tonight games include goalkeeper Rob Sanchez and George Petrovic, defenders Axel Disasi, Thiago Silva, Levi Colwill, Mark Cucurella, Ian Matson, Alfie Gleiters, Josh Brooking, midfielders Enzo Fernandez, Moises Casido, Connor Galashka, Leslie Ugochukwu, Carney Chukwemeka, and attackers Raheem Sterling, Michaelo Modric, David Washington, Armando Broja, Cole Palmer, and Noni Madueke. On our entertainment news, to identify and initiate lasting solutions to critical challenges in the music industry, Africa Music Business Summit, in partnership with the Performing Musicians Employers Association of Nigeria, PMAN, Record Label Properties Initiative, the RLP Association of Music Artists Managers of Nigeria, AMAN, and Music Publishers Association of Nigeria, MPAN, is holding an emergency summit of stakeholders today. The summit, which focuses on the rebirth of the music, entertainment, arts, culture, and hospitality sector and industry in Nigeria virtually will commence at 6 p.m. via Zoom, according to the president of the All Africa Music Awards, AFRIMA, Mike Dada. Stakeholders expected to be part of the meeting include musicians and artists, record labels, A&R, producers, promoters, artist managers, brands, songwriters, DJs, and video vixens, among others. At the end of the summit, stakeholders are expected to come up with ideas and propose bills to ensure professionalization of the music and entertainment industry. And still on entertainment, comedian Bright Okocha, popularly called Basket Mouth, has apologized to colleague Ayodeji Makun, popularly known as AY, following their 17-year-old feud. Recall that AY and Basket Mouth have been in the news over their lingering feud. In 2021, during a black box interview, Basket Mouth noted that he fell out with AY because he messed with loyalty. And in May 2023, AY attributed the cost of the rift to a business transaction that went sour in 2006. Meanwhile, Basket Mouth, in a video shared on his Instagram page today, tendered a public apology while taking responsibility for the 17-year rift. He also apologized to everyone he offended. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David White. Good evening.